The next agenda item, the presentation by the farmers rep on fertilizer. Farmers rep on the fertilizer program. I think this is a short one.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, for giving me the floor. Honorable councillors, Deputy Mayor, CEO, directors, and all other protocol duly respected. I think is just normal procedures that we are following, but this is a necessity, and also is timing as the right time for me to do this presentation. And I think my colleagues, the honorable councillors, they will definitely support this fertilizer thing. Why saying this? The women vegetable farmers, I think all the wards, or most of the wards, they have these women vegetable farmers. And I think most of their complaints is given to the people that they are representing them in council. For that being the case, we just say that we're going to follow the normal procedures to come to council, because I cannot decide. The decision and the final should be made by the honorable councillors. That's why we said we are appealing to you, councillors, for you to support this fertilizers presentation that we're going to partner. We want, it's not, it's been done, but we want to partner with Eco Soil Company, and the people we're supposed to partner with are around Mr. Momar Tal and is it Ego? Is it Ego? Econ, Mr. Econ. Sorry if I don't mention your name properly. Yeah. Sorry about that. So I think I won't say much, but just appealing to my colleagues that please, when the presentation is done, I think you will definitely support this fertilizer. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Lord Mayor, CEO, Deputy Mayor, councillors, thank you very much for having me. A lot of you are familiar faces. I know you from council. My name is Momar Tal. I'm the founder and CEO of M&I Organic Soil Solutions. And we are a Gambian organic fertilizer manufacturing company. We have a factory in Kotu where we're making organic fertilizer. So we're here to do a presentation as we see the need for, in all the gardens in Gambia, a need for this, getting rid of the imported chemical fertilizer and using organic fertilizer, which is better for the soil. So this presentation is just to give you an overview of our company and the project and how we can work together with KM. So as we know, 60% of the Gambian population is involved in agriculture. However, majority lack access to affordable quality organic fertilizer. And before I say it, let's listen to what some of the farmers who use our eco-soil.
am kontaan bu baax li may rek mooy li nga si yëkkat jot waaye su fekkoon ne gaawoon naa see jot konoon dinaa ci am yokkute bu baax ndax liñ lépp liñ bay luñ ci def rek demee ni mboq dugub gerte yëpp gis nañ si njëriñ waaye comme niñ si jotee rek ñu ko jotal bi mu si gisee njëriñ daf ñu ko jotale ñun tam biñ si jotee gis si njëriñ ñu jotal keneen kooku tamit def comme nuñ def ko si mbayteefam wane na moom tam gis amul ci benn réccu gis na si lu ko neex.
fukki at maa ngi jëfoo beneen engrais bu nekkul engrais bii nii waaye dama start di jëfoo engrais bii nii yéen ñëpp di liggéey di suma morom jigéen muy góor muy jigéen muy baykat garden muy baykat tool xool leen bu baax engrais bi ngeen jëfoo ko parce que ñun buñ ko dalee di jëfoo ba léegi gis nañ ceeñis ci engrais bii nii kon maa ngi leen a wane leen engrais bi engrais bu am njëriñ la.
dafa nekk fertilizer boo xam ne baax na si gerte baax na si dugub baax na si gàddi na si baax na si lépp te amul dara chemical boo xam ne dana yàqal dara si li ñuy bay looloo tax ma gën koo tax te li ma leen di wax nii man dama ko tisam suma bopp kombo bi foo ma andi ko fii bi ma ko andee fii foos sax nangu ma ko woon jaay dama tis léegi nag gis naa result si everywhere mboq dugub gerte xaal yëpp tametu moom kanja kakumba il faut ma andi ko North Bank fii Jokadu boobu dama ko tisam sama bopp Serekunda si borom garden yoo xam ne maa ñoo ma bokkoon opéré te definitely good result lañ gis ak baaxaay bi si gàncax gu mënti doon nag du gerte du dugub du kaadina si lépp lañ ko tis am tool yuñ tende tool yoo xam ne yusuñu woon di sem écosol ñu am différent bu bari te li may wax ni mboolem dëkk buñ ko yuus ñi fa dëkk mën nañ ko witness ko sax biñ ko laajtee dama leen dem leen si tool yi ngeen xool jàkk sax balaa ñu ne jënda léegi gis ngeen suma tool man si suma bopp gis ngeen tool yi ma dendeet différent bi naka la mel borom tool yi ma dendeet mënuñ ko muñ ba laaj nañ ma dëgg lan nga def sa tool ma ne leen écosol mais dañ mujjee topp ma daay rek leen ci place yi nga xam ne lañ ko wàcce woon am na ñu xam ne leen nañ pour use ko waaye buñ ko usee gis ne results.
So, like I said, that video is this year. We did trial tests with farmers all across the country, from Basse, Arafat, Balangar, NBR, here in West Coast. And those are just testimonies of some of the farmers that are using this fertilizer. And what all the farmers unanimously can attest to is that they were able to increase the amount of produce that they were making from the same plot of land. They were able to increase the soil fertility in their land. And they were saving money because the price of the bag is actually cheaper than the imported fertilizer. This picture here you can see on the right is someone else who did corn. You can't see it here properly, but if you look at it, the corn was more yellow and the seeds were bigger. This is the first time in Gambia that fertilizer factory has been established. It's the first time. So we're very eager to work with council to also propagate this through women's gardens. For the last 2 years, we have been doing a lot of research and testing. We worked with the Ministry of Agriculture, NARI, which is National Agriculture Research Institute, and with selected farmers across the country so we can make sure that the fertilizer is effective, what is inside there is tested, and is safe for human consumption. Then we started the manufacturing and distribution. We built a factory in Kotu. You're welcome to visit at any time, where we are already hiring 150 youths, most from Manjai, Kotu area. They're all working at the factory and making a good living. And now we're at the stakeholder strategic partnership level, where we're engaging stakeholders. We're already working with the Ministry of Agriculture, who have taken 6,000 tons to distribute around the country. And now we're trying to work with the local gardens through the municipalities as well. The idea is to make sure that every farmer in Gambia knows about, is educated, and has access to these things so that they can improve their output. And we can also support Gambian businesses in that sense, and we can get rid of this dependence that we have on this imported fertilizer, which is not good for our soil, is not good for our economy. So this is an example, if you see in this picture, of one of the test sites. This is in North Bank. If you see on the left side, that small grass that you see there is corn grown with normal fertilizer. On the right side, that very green one is the corn after using our fertilizer. So maybe after we'll share these pictures properly so you can see them closer. Based on the NARI application, we were able to measure 60% increase in organic matter in maize, 59% in groundnut, 68% in rice crops. Also, this picture is also showing you a similar result. On the left, this is a field in Arafat, in Balangar, I believe. Yeah, yes. Yeah, there's a sitting there he also took to test on his farm. And on his farm, on the left-hand side, that's the normal fertilizer that he's growing normally. And on the right-hand side, the green one, the lush one, is with ours. So the fertilizer speaks for itself. And we believe that if the women gardeners have access to something like this, they'll be able to double what they're producing on the same bed of land, and they can have more income. So the benefits, as you know, it will rejuvenate the soil, will increase the yield, increases the time of growing. It's more affordable. Our bags, we sell them at $850 for the 50-kilo bag, compared to the urea and the NPK, which is, with the government subsidy, $1,250 to $1,800 per bag. It's produced locally here in KMC. And we're also protecting farmers from the international shocks. As you know, with the war in Ukraine and Russia, the price of fertilizer last year went up to $2,500. That's not something that we can control in Gambia. So looking forward in the future, how do we protect our farmers from these things that we cannot control? If the price goes up for whatever reason outside, if we're not producing anything locally and farmers don't have access to it, we will always be at the mercy of what's happening outside. It's environmentally friendly, and these organic products, so if you have tomato or kanja that is grown with organic products, usually the shelf life after harvest is longer because there's no chemicals in it. It's healthier for you and it doesn't spoil as quickly. But the farmers, they know this. They know this better than you and me. Any farmer you talk to about compost or organic fertilizer, they know the benefits. So just to conclude quickly, actually just one more picture I want to show you. You see this hand on the far right, I forgot to show you. This is okra seeds from one pod of okra. On the left, it was the okra seed that was grown with the normal fertilizer, one pod. We took out the seeds. And on the right, one pod with our, just to show you the difference in yield from the fertilizers. So I just want to leave you with this quick, because I think it's always best to hear from the farmers. I started with you hearing from the farmers up country. This is the farmers in Lamin, here in KMC, at the Lamin Women's Garden. And for them, they did not receive this fertilizer yet, but just to hear what their problems are, so you can hear firsthand your own constituents in the farms, what their issues are.
Paretal puka dogoji bawo ni yaje to kebal non fo lafta dindi wol nyaaye isaje si sawarno bar do ko fana nala dia ibe jamba do soto la nyama yena muri je soto nyama mem fana be do ku la tankan de la bila ngo fana soto nyama wo ni fensa bo mun ya problem ba dol be da me ke wala mo an yaje man fo no lafta dindi wol ye ko mo te inyasi ba ni wala ye bandi wala ye mama ñu wala ya nam man fo ñu be pulare ndi ñu wala ji ko en tol batan di janne sansan ko en batan kam ni nga dula de da ni solle kadu baal kadu ja wol be kam batan di sako temme be lori ndi tol be da de nga wodula ko mandi baabu en baaw katinya siri ni so na ta ngam sembo ma wara nya bari kam be fi la tale hadni ko tale ngaka arabu kanu on ni so adu ma te katida andu ni dol kebal na fata do dindi won te sawar na wala na mo ko no be jan dindi won ni akite aw ni keba wa kata kata dindi won nya ja sembo ka wala to men bi jan te ka ho be sembe ma aw sembe te te jamalo Fonale maso no kolori ndumbela fi ngala sai do ko be commencer kan na dini wol ba da kan sai do ke ba be ngoma lafta ngana jamba do na soto sai do ko e ke no anya ala baraka.
So thank you. That's the end of the presentation. Just wanted to open the floor for discussions and see how we can work together. But as you can hear, these people really need it, and they are the people at the farms. So it's up to us, the private sector, government, council, to see how we can support them.
Okay, before I open up to the floor, I just wanted to ask, the fertilizer you say is organic. So what is the byproducts to create the fertilizer? Is it waste or is it?
It's waste mixed with different organic matter from farm matter.
So organic waste?
Organic waste, yes.
From markets or from?
No, from NAWEC.
From NAWEC?
Yes. Okay. So not markets, because there's not enough organic waste in the markets to do the quantities that we want to do. Yes.
But you can still take organic waste from markets?
Of course, we can take organic waste from markets. If the problem with markets is the collection. If you go to NAWEC, it's all in one place. But if you're doing markets, the collection, having the quantity in one place to make the organic matter is the problem. If that collections is organized properly, then it's definitely an input for us.
What kind of organic waste could NAWEC have? Is it the pond?
The pond,
The Kotu pond?
Yes.
Okay. All right, see you ask and I go to the floor.
Yes, thank you very much, Tal, for a very good presentation. My question is, for example, the normal fertilizer. You have the urea for KUS, you have NPK for groundnut.
Yep.
So this eco-soil, is it a general purpose fertilizer or?
Yes. So eco-soil is a soil treatment. It's for any crop, from your garden, your plants, for maize, for field crops, and for vegetables. Because how it works is different from a fertilizer. What a fertilizer does is it uses ammonia, which is a chemical that gives you nitrogen, phosphorus, and these different things to boost the growth of the plant, not the health. What organic fertilizer does is the opposite. What it does, it enriches the soil naturally, and it continues growing biodiversity in the soil to give more nutrients for the plant to grow. So that's the difference. So it can work for all plants. Yeah.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, for giving me the floor. Dr. Tal, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I just have a question. In KM, we have a small portion of land for farming. The question I want to ask is, this eco-soil, this organic fertilizer, is it also used for gardening, or because I haven't heard these farmers mentioning about vegetables also, because all I had them mentioning is groundnut, KUS, maize, and so. So is this fertilizer also used for gardening, or, because at my own ward level, I don't have a garden, I don't have a farm at London Corner. Yes. The only gardens we have is individual gardens, maybe at home. So that is the question I want to ask. Well, thank you for that wonderful presentation.
So the last woman here that was complaining a lot, she's from the CAFO at Lamin Garden. So we are currently working on distributing towards the gardens here. It can be used in gardens, it can be used in your house, it can be used in field crops. The reason why the video was more focused on the field crops is because these are the results from NAWET. So in NAWET, most people were doing field crops. Right now, people are engaging in the gardens, which is why we're here today. We want to take advantage of that period now. So it can work for all. In fact, it works even in my opinion, the results that I'm seeing in gardens, we were doing some tests at our factory, we grew cabbage. And the volume of cabbage that came out compared to the normal one. And also with some gardens that were doing vegetables for supermarkets, they said that what they used to harvest after 3 months, within 1.5 months they were harvesting. What plants were germinating after 1 month, within two weeks, they start to germinate. So it's very, very good for gardens in that sense.
Youth Councillor.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Mohamed. You might know that I'm a big fan of urban farming and a big fan of sustainable agriculture, because I do believe that in the long run, it's the best of ways that we can support our communities and build resilience, especially against climate change. Um, what I'm most impressed about, if I should say, is that it's a more cost-effective mechanism compared to the mineral or the chemical fertilizer that we have. But most important also too, I do believe that we're very focused as a council on the soil quality and the health of our soil in KMC, considering that it's the urban center and we've got a lot of pollutants. We are fighting against the Bakwate dump site. We're fighting against the mechanics we have all over the place who are, pouring chemicals and other issues on the in the soil. So for us and for me personally as a young person and representing my constituents, I do believe that my own interest is environmental sustainability, and I do believe that eco-soil is a better alternate. I'm also looking at the factor of how are you going to also include young people in the process of making it, and also is there a section where we can benefit from as councillors, where I know we have 7 gardens within the Kanifing Municipal Council. Bakau has one, Bakote has another, New Joshua has. So we've got 7 in total. But is there also a plan in the long run where you can partner with council and bring it down to the garden level where you can also train women on how to make some of these fertilizers? I know it's a business, but is there also a social aspect of it? And also how is it going to minimize the impact with the environment? That yes, it is eco and it is organic, but it still has some impact on the environment. But how is it going to be minimized? That's something I'd like to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So I think there's 3 questions there. Yes. So let's talk about our collaboration with KMC. This collaboration is open to discussion. We give the floor to KMC to tell us what their needs are and how you see best that we can collaborate. As we are a business, we are looking to grow and we have a social aspect. Now, I'm glad you brought up youths. So we have 150 employees at our factory, and about 85% of them are youths under the age of 35. They're working for us. And I always say that there's so many people that are coming looking for jobs at our factory that I'm surprised at how much youth unemployment exists here. Our plan is to expand the factory. I think the direct impact on youths is going to be through the job creation for you and learning skills, because not only are you coming to work in the factory, we made a deliberate decision that the equipment that we're using to manufacture the fertilizer, we made it in Gambia, and it's made by actually a youth. He's a youth engineer. We showed him what we need, and we designed it. Of course, there were hiccups, but we designed it. So those are the direct impacts for youth. Setting aside the ability to go into agriculture and have access to the fertilizer. The impact on the soil. Our tests have proven that we are improving soil fertility, and in the process, as well as testing for heavy metals. So we test for heavy metals and pollutants in the raw material and in the finished product periodically. In fact, we are going further and doing tests for NAWEC, who don't even have data on these pollutants in the waste that they right now just discard it. They discard it. They have nothing to do with it. You understand? And they don't even know what is inside there. So they don't know what is seeping through the water table. But we're doing tests on all of that to make sure that we have an accurate reading of what levels of contaminants are in this waste and whether it is safe for human consumption or not before we use it. We are also, we pasteurize all the fertilizer before it goes. So pasteurization is a process of killing all harmful bacteria or anything without disturbing the organic matter. So we're doing all of these safeguards, not just to protect the environment, but also the human health. This is what makes it good for human consumption, as opposed to what they use in the gardens. When I'm not being a their tourist garden, they say don't grow food with that because it's not pasteurized. That one you don't know. All the gardens, all the Bahama grass that you see here, that is what they're using, but nobody knows what is inside it, and that seeps into the water table. So those are the safeguards that we have. I don't know if that answers all your questions.
Deputy Mayor.
Good afternoon. So, Farmers Rep, thank you for introducing the EcoSoil company, the CEO, Mr. Tal. Thank you. And then I think Councillor for Youth Council has elaborated on what I want to say. But this is a good thing to work on this organic waste, which is very important, because this chemical that are coming to the Gambia is not useful into these gardens. I think we should go for this organic waste for the best interest of our women. As he likely mentioned, we have 7 gardens within KMC, and I can see most of the important stakeholders in it, like NARI, then agriculture. So last 2 years, the fertilizer was expensive in the Gambia. It was 2,500, which most of these women farmers are complaining. And here you have an agricultural chair and you have a farmer's chair. I think for the approval of council, they can see how best to work together and see how our women of KMC, women gardeners, can also benefit from this organic waste. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, the CEO, Mr. Tal. We know each other.
Yes, you're my counselor.
Counselor.
Yeah.
And then we have been working together in terms of the youth empowerment, like don't throw it and something like that. Please introduce them to me and to the mayor. All right, but these other ones, you know, is special one. All right, which I think is very, very good. All right, I have not seen the product yet. I have not seen where you tested it. All right, already the mayor and the youth council have elaborated more that I want to ask you. I want to have my questions here. But now, let me come to the time of the marketing issues. Because here, what is important is how to market it, how people are going to use it, and to expose it so that at least we do away with this chemical fertilizer. We go in for something that is very, you know, friendly to our soils and to our farmers. All right? Because if you look at it now, as with Bakau, all right, we have about almost, you know, the gardens, you know, in Bakau garden, we have 2 gardens in Bakau. The other garden, that is, which is the biggest garden, we have about almost 520 women are working in that garden, excluding the men that are there. Because now I've seen a lot of men are now involved in gardening. All right, when you come in terms of chemical fertilizers, every year, these women gave me money. Even this year alone, they spend about $177,000 for me to, you know, buy fertilizer for them together with the farmers rep. All right? So we work together to make sure that we facilitate this fertilizer for them. Last year, we went up to tender about to collect this fertilizer for them there. Now, having this, how will they know that this is available for them? Because as of now, they beginning gardening now. I think what you should do is now, you have to collaborate with the farmers reps and the agri rep to meet these farmers, to meet these gardeners in their garden, and then at least you practicalize it there. What do you call the trial? The waterman said the other garden near you, that's the care point, is easy to reach. All right, we can go there and see how best we can able to convince these women, all right, maybe take 1 or 2 of their beds. Now let's try to use this fertilizer here and see the products, and then we use this chemical fertilizer and compare them. All right, so through that we can also help you to market your products, and then instead of going for this chemical fertilizer, spend a lot of money, you know, right, then we can convert to this other fertilizer so that at least our women can have more produce in their distance. The other thing is now, most of these gardens are infected with pests. I don't know whether you know it or not. Because last time when we went there now, you know, with the women, and now this is what they have complained. They will grow their vegetable up to a certain level, but it will reach, by the time it reaches the ripening period, that was time the pests, insect destroy everything. I want to ask you whether you have any plan for that one also, so that at least you have the fertilizer and you also have the pesticide to make sure that to pesticide their gardens and so on, and their environment. Please, if you have any other plan, if you don't have, try that one too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So with your first one, that is why we're here, to engage council, because you know more than us the reality on the ground. For us, we have been to the farmers. I'm an agriculturist myself. I know the situation there. But you are the ones who are closest to the women on the garden. And you know how is best to market these things to them, educate them. But what I find is most of the gardeners are aware of the benefits and they prefer to go organic. But the question is access. Where do they get it from? Can they afford it? And that's what we are here to solve. So I believe that a marriage of the two, using your network and our expertise, we can definitely fill this gap. On your second question on the pesticides, at the moment we're just focused on the fertilizer, and we know pest is a huge issue. It's something that we've been looking at, but it takes time to develop these things. So over time, it could be something that we will roll out, but at the moment, we're just starting with the fertilizer, as that is more pressing of a need.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, for giving me the floor. Thank you very much, Farmers Rep, for this eco-soil, for us to give us this platform. And actually, thank you very much, Mr. Tal, for being here. I think I know you before, and I know you were an agriculturist, still you are. And thank you very much. So anyway, as the saying goes, agriculture, or the type of agriculture we are having here is the farmers, the women farmers in KM. And for these past years, I have interacted with them together with the Council of Obakau. We have a lot of problem in this fertilizer, and the fertilizer they were using is this chemical fertilizer, which we all know is not good. We know the danger it put on the soil and the crops itself. So, and actually it's not easy to get. These women, they struggle to put their finance together to, for them to have these fertilizers. But here again, we are also encouraging, we used to do that for these past 2 years, for them to make their own compost plant, which you are, and actually now it will be we against you. That means you are doing it. For our CAP project also, we are encouraging them to make their own compost. So here, I don't know, because most of our women are educated now. They can make this compost and they are using it. And here you are using it, but you are using it for business. So I don't know how we can collaborate with you so that our women there can also generate, more. Like, for example, 850 for a bag, though, anyway, it's cheaper than the chemical fertilizers. But whether you can just bring it down, so at least they are standard, so that actually it will be more affordable for them. And thank you very much once again for coming to enlighten us on this.
Okay. Thank you, my friend. So I just want to make a few distinctions between compost and organic fertilizer. They're very different. And even if you take the results of compost and organic fertilizer, you see the difference. Compost uses the process of decomposition. So you put everything in a pile, you leave it over time, and it decomposes, and you have organic matter. But in that process, a lot of organic matter is lost. And you have there's nothing inside there to increase the potency of the organic matter and the other nutrients that the plant needs. So it's good, but it is rudimentary. Organic fertilizer uses the fermentation process, and that process is completely different. So the potency of the product is a lot more strong, right? Which is why it can compete with the chemical fertilizer. As you know, when you compost on a garden or you use a chemical fertilizer, you will have more yield from the chemical fertilizer, right? But if you take the chemical fertilizer and you use the organic fertilizer, you'll have more yield from the organic fertilizer. So it's a different product. I'm not against composting, but I always try to create this distinction between the two. Because what people don't realize in composting, yes, you're making it for yourself, but it's more expensive for you. Because yes, that process of composting, how many months does one garden take to compost one heap? It takes time, yes. So you have to prepare and you have to work in it over time. Then you're also taking land off your farm to make the compost where you can be growing. So in advanced countries, farmers who have huge projects, composting is an added cost and an added operations for them. For them to go buy it off the shelf is cheaper in the long run. So these are the mindsets that we have to adapt. Yes, compost, yeah, but you're also going to need to supplement it with organic fertilizer or chemical fertilizer. I'll give you an example. Is there any garden across the country that is composting and not for all the beds? Amut. So that means the composting capacity is too small. So and then all our projects keep on going back to composting, 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 but it's not addressing the root issue. Is that we do not have enough productive capacity in fertilizer. So we're always going to be dependent on we cannot compose enough compost to feed the whole of Gambia. So these are the distinctions. So my approach is continue composting. Your compost, you can mix it in the soil with the organic fertilizer. The results will be very good because that's how you reduce your cost. If you have a bag of 850 and you use 50% of the bag for one bed and 50% of the weight as compost, you've just cut your cost in half. You understand? So it should be a supplement to it. So that's my response to that.
Thank you.
Yes.
So we just keep the questions short and the answers even shorter because we are running out of time. So we'll allocate 10 more minutes to this discussion. So Yiringanya.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Tal, for the brilliant presentation, and equally the farmers rep. Well, actually, so far, I'm so very much impressed about your explanations as to the benefits of the organic fertilizer as opposed to chemical fertilizer. As the name implies, although I'm not trying to be a marketing manager for you, but we all know that anything that is organic, is natural, is real. And also the added health benefit it can, impact onto your life. We all realized recently these chemical fertilizers being used in our farms, in our gardens. Nowadays, even the produce are as small as something else. And the taste, in fact, is a different thing. With the chemical fertilizer, I believe if well promoted, we will be healthier and will live longer and be able to deliver accordingly. I think I would like to talk about the cooperation and perhaps the farmers rep could come with some strategic as the central government is doing. We are local government. We can equally do similar thing. That is to see how best do we empower the gardeners within the municipality by coming up with some subvention kind of. Perhaps we applaud you for coming down lower. As opposed to 2,000 and something, you are as low as below $1,000. Perhaps we can see how best, because as far as my ward is concerned, we have some gardeners there, and they are in dire need of these fertilizers. I think if we could come up with a strategy, perhaps if they can come up with 60% and then council as a governing body could equally chip in. That is just a suggestion. So please, I think so far so good. Anything that is organic means it's real. So I think farmers rep, I commend you for bringing such, so we can see how best do we partner to help our women, but in particular.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Kanifing.
Yeah. Thank you, Lord Mayor, for giving me the floor. First of all, I want to thank the farmers rep for also letting this gentleman here through. As chairman of this agriculture committee, I would love to applaud your project and to let you know that you are welcome. And this is something that is very, very welcoming, because we understand that organic is anything that's natural, and we feel this will help the women and all the farmers that we have within our nation here. So I think this is a very, very good initiative. I would love to give you your flowers for bringing this, and I think council and my committee will work hand in hand to see how best we can cooperate with you to make sure that we give our farmers the right product, which is the organic fertilizer. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Last one, we have Bakwote.
Mr. Tal here standing is the chairman of our KMM. So, Mr. Tal, you're welcome. I have two questions, but before going to the questions, with this organic product or organic fertilizer, I think it's a good move. And this is all what we need as at now to avoid what happens in other countries by destroying the soil texture with the use of these chemical fertilizers. And also the quality and the increasing the productivity of the yield is another thing. As we can all realize, in the past years, where you can have, a ton of groundnut harvested for the past years, now you will cultivate 2 of that land size to get half of a ton. Yes. So with this will reactivate soil texture, and the quality productivity also may increase or will increase as we see it on the presentation. Also, when you talk about the health sector, with the chemical fertilizers, it's not healthy. Maybe we as laymen may not realize the impact it is doing to our health. But with these imported chemical fertilizers, some of these vegetable products, we eat them raw. And whilst they are full of chemicals, and we will not realize it, and it may cause, serious impact on our health. And you've talked about the environmental friendliness of your factory. This, I would like you to elaborate more on it in terms of the environmental pollution your factory may cause. Hence, it's in Kotu, and Kotu is is in residential areas. So, what impact do you think this factory operating within that area may cause? And also, you've talked about organic waste in our market can be manufactured to this organic fertilizer. If segregated and collected in our market or packed in our market, do you have any plan to collect them in our markets to take them to your factory? This will also help us in terms of our environmental waste management. And I will thank the farmers rep for coming up with this proposal or this idea of this heartful presentation by Mr. Tal. I think it's a welcoming one, and we should all endeavor and see how best we can subsidize our women farmers, because they form the largest percentage in terms of farming in the municipality. So we should all come together and see how best we can support and subsidize them in their garden. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Short answer?
Yes, short answer. So just to keep a long story short, for the factory, we've already done an EIA with NEA, which is the Environmental Impact Assessment. And that just looks at all the environmental impacts of manufacturing within the Kotu area. The biggest pollutant there is not even from us, it's the dust from the road. That's the biggest pollutant in that area. So for us, we're doing organic. We don't have any smoke, nothing like that. We're just doing mixing there. We've had some issues of where we store our groundnut shells because we keep it on the land outside. And I think even KMC helped us with that before. But apart from that, the storage of the shells, there's not been much environmental disturbance. The other issue was, as we said, the collection of the waste. Yes, of course, if we are open to work with council to find solutions on your waste management. But all of this requires studies. This project, before we came out with the product, the studies took over 2 years of just studies and research. And that's how you come with a solution that works. So for me to stand here and say, yes, tomorrow we can take your waste, we have to come and study your situation, study the waste there, and see how that fits into what we are doing. But it's something we have already started to idea about and talk about. But that is something that we work more closely, as now we have a formal relationship with council. It's through the farmers rep, and I'm sure through the market committees we'll be able to find a solution for that.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tal. I think it's a good presentation. Let me just conclude with some action points. One is that we like to thank the farmers rep officially for pushing this forward. Two is to also work with the farmers rep, because she's very good at grant sourcing. She's had success with women's grants in the past, and I'm sure the ability is still there. Because if we can get grant support to help women farmers, that would be great. Secondly is to look at incorporating market organic waste, because that is the council's interest in your source of for your fertilizer. I know you're working with NAWEC, but for us, our waste in the market, rather than going to the dump site, if we can feed it elsewhere, that would be preferable to us. Lastly, I think this is the show of the Agri Committee Chair and his committee and the farmers rep. So I think this is just sensitization. So you have to go to the committee level now to work on what exactly you are proposing and what exactly council can benefit at the point of the grassroots. For me, I think the most important thing is that it is cheaper than regular fertilizer, half the price. Because sometimes some councillors buy fertilizer at very expensive and they want to help their women farmers. But if we can work on grants and also get support, that would be great. Because we do oversee many areas in the municipality, but not that agriculture is like our mandate. It's just one of the many things we do to help our communities. Also, the Mbalit manager wanted to bring something to the attention of the council. He's also a multifaceted person. He works with a lot of these organizations. So he says that the compost fertilizer is tested by NARI on cereals and it proved positive. And the Directorate of Urban Agriculture is yet to test it on vegetables. They will work with EcoSoil to test it in Bakau Garden next year as a pilot. Okay, so this year. Okay, so according to him, EcoSoil is what Ministry of Agriculture is going to test at Bakau Garden as a pilot. So also we want to observe what the feedback is. The Bakau Councillor is here. What the feedback is on that test. But if it's positive on cereals, hopefully it will be positive on vegetables. I think generally speaking, now the world is going towards the circular economy, trying to recycle things to make sure that we are not destroying the environment. And I think for consumption also, we are quite concerned, because especially Gambia, where there's weak quality control to know what we are consuming. It's a big concern. The National Health Insurance Scheme was here this morning, and this is what we were talking about. Preventive cure rather than going to hospitals. And a lot of diseases, especially in this country, is connected to what we are consuming. So definitely organic is safer than all these chemical fertilizers. So without further ado, we thank you for coming. We want to register our appreciation to the farmers rep. And this is work for the committee at a future date to propose how they envision the council can work with EcoSoil to bring solutions, both on the waste management side and on the urban farming side. Thank you so much.